Welcome or welcome back. I am Megan. Thank you for joining me. This is the beginning of my Shelftember series where I am going to declutter, dust, and display, hopefully, all of the shelves in my realm of the house in the month of September. Now, obviously, not all of these shelves are out in the open. This one happens to be in a cabinet in my bathroom, but I was actually able to declutter quite a bit out of it, and it does look quite a bit better. Now, I actually have a bag in the laundry that I will put those masks in so they're easy to grab and go. In the off chance we should still need them for something. The box behind that is my old hearing aids, and I basically just pulled all of the stuff out of that box and got rid of it that I didn't need and added this stuff that I still have that's usable to the box instead of this pile. Oh crap. That index, in case you happen to know what that is, it was $500, but it's actually starting to get gummy and melt, which was beyond bizarre to me. And then this is the shelves underneath my bathroom sink. So I've got a little bit more to go out there. By the way, I was not going to throw away the SD cards. And no, I don't know why I housed SD cards in a box with razor blades. That's just where they've been for years and where we would look for them first. They are now in a fireproof safe, so we don't lose the pictures that are on them. Because we got to make sense occasionally. One other thing I would like to point out here, I am doing this over the span of 2 days, but I don't recommend that. The whole point of this project I'm doing is to get in the habit of doing a little bit each day. And I made a list of my shelves that are in my areas of the house. My kids are old enough, they are responsible for their own spaces. So I don't worry about those too much unless they ask for help. The goal here is sort of like when I've done the minimalism game challenge, that it gets you in a habit of doing something every day. So my hope is that I can continue that and do like 2 shelves per day, and that will actually take care of the vast majority of the shelves in my house, and they will all be done by the end of the month, oddly enough. I did also make a list of drawers and cabinets. Not sure I will continue that, finishing those, but the point of this project was that most everything left on my perpetual list. If you guys saw that video where I went through old tiny tidies and did the, I was starting to make a list of all of the stuff people cleaned, because, if they're cleaning it, maybe it's something I should think about cleaning. I did not know on some of it. It's like, okay, well, an entire bookcase is overwhelming, but maybe 1 shelf isn't, or 2 shelves isn't. Hopefully I can maybe get ahead on some weeks where I've got a lot of easy shelves, and then the harder shelves, I can knock it down to just 1 per day. But the goal is to get in the habit of doing something every day. Because, if you're doing 1 tiny tidy a day, can you imagine how many minutes worth of stuff you have gotten done in a year? I mean, I guess that would be what? 3,650 minutes, and I don't even know how many hours that is. Maybe I will put that in the up on the screen somewhere. But that's a lot of time, and there's a lot of stuff I can get rid of that is just holding me back and down and can be helpful. So I want to go ahead and get that stuff out of my life so I'm not moving it around. That's one thing that really irritates me that I've noticed I do a lot, is I just move stuff from one place to another, to another, to another. Do any of you guys do that? Please tell me I'm not alone. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but something, for whatever reason, I will pick something up in one spot. And this is actually why the 5-minute pickups are really good for me, because if I pick something up in one spot and I get distracted before I get it to its home, it gets sat down somewhere else and then it's just lost. I do that so often. But anyway, if I'm doing 1 or 2 5-minute pickups a day, eventually most of it gets put away if it's on a flat surface. But honestly, since I only do flat surfaces for that, if it gets sat on a non-flat surface or a perpetually cluttered surface, it's just out of sight, out of mind, because I can no longer see it. I don't really understand that project. It's not really a project. Like, I have these spaces that I'm just sort of clutter blind to at this point. Others, like, I can see it. I know it's a mess. And I can know it's a mess for months and not do anything about it. But then there's some places where it's just like, okay, that's a designated mess. But I don't even see it. I don't know. Anyway, neither here nor there. I didn't know how much I would actually get rid of on these shelves, because if you've been around a while, you might know. If not, I'm going to tell you right now. When I get stuck on decluttering and stuff, I will typically do a once-over on my wardrobe. Then I will hit books real quick and then do the bathroom areas. Yes, the bathroom areas that you just saw me declutter a whole lot of stuff out of, those bathroom areas. Obviously, I haven't been pulling everything out in those. Of course, I just pulled everything out to dust this time too. So anyway, it dusted off the dust, and if you've got 2 years worth of dust on something, I guess you're not really using it. Anywho, some of these books, like, I struggle with reference books, because if I'm referencing them, then it's not like I'm gonna sit down and read it, but I can look stuff up. But there was a homesteading book in here. Well, when I get to really looking at it, I bought it as a reference book. Half of it is literally taking care of animals that I'm not allowed to have and don't plan to own ever. Part of it is orcharding stuff that I have an entire book dedicated to orcharding, and then the rest of it is gardening type stuff, or maybe canning. Canning I don't really do because of the histamine issues, and then gardening, guess what? I have a couple of books dedicated to that have more sentimental value, and I do actually reference, so yeah. Anyway, I am sort of moving these around, so I am doing the entire stack at once, and I did get a little bit of help because my kids also get first right of refusal if they don't want to get rid of something that we could all theoretically use, like cardstock, for instance. They can say, yes, please keep that. And then I would obviously, they either need to take it to their room or I need to find a home for it. So I just sort of account for that. But the cardstock I kept because I like it. But now I don't have to worry about at least the youngest wanting any of it. Some of this stuff is actually just sentimental. Like the pink box has cards that my mom made, and she's been gone since 2008, and I'm just not quite ready to, I can get rid of the stamping supply stuff, okay, but the stuff that she actually made, I'm not quite there yet. But yeah, so a lot of this, it's one of those things where it's it's there, you see it, you might realize that you're not using it, or that maybe it doesn't mean as much as you thought it did once upon a time, but maybe there's just a way it can be done better and take up less space and not be in your way anymore. Or maybe you don't need as much of it. This is the second time I've cut down on the cardstock. At one point, it almost filled this entire shelf. And I halved it once, and then I believe we halved it again today. And we're getting down to the point that it's just colors that I like. I have no particular plans to use cardstock, so I'm not really sure what I'll do with that. I do have some things I have used cardstock for, like when I was working on an herb journal to kind of solidify the stuff I was learning about different herbs. Anywho, this is what I wound up with. Remember to take your time and don't feel like you need to catch up if you want to jump on this with me. And of course, we have to get a little bit in here. She is my all the time helper. And remember, a few minutes at a time really adds up over a lifetime.